And now we're entering West Virginia.
I did not expect this. I don't know why.
And now we're entering Tennessee.
This I expected because we were going to stay over at Johnson City, and instead we rooted ourselves to stay all the way in Asheville.
And we got our first mug, Tennessee.
We have been going through all the Starbucks and looking for these city-state mugs.
And this is North Carolina mug.
So check, and check.
And then we have South Carolina.
And they're getting trickier to find because not all Starbucks, of course, carries them. So sometimes you have to pass over a few places.
So we had dinner here, Harbor Inn Seafood Restaurant.
It's local enough. It was right near our hotel, right near the outlets over there, but we were too late to go to the outlets. It was a seafood thing, so I thought we'd try something different, although you got steak again.
Yeah.
I thought that I was going to get the lighter fare, and instead it turned out to be quite a large portion. I was very surprised by that.
Yeah, the portions were really large.
Huge. We forget about these sizings because they even had some lighter fare with a bowl of soup, and instead a huge plate of soup came.
Tristan and I both got 12-ounce steaks, but they seem bigger than 12-ounce.
Was it delicious?
So we stayed at the Hampton Inn that night.
Nice, good, clean. I always book those that are highly reviewed and highly cleaned.
It had fancy decoration.
And free breakfast always for the following morning, so at least that fuels the boys before we leave. And good spacious rooms.
Here is the next morning. It is Saturday, July 2nd.
And we're on our way now to Biltmore Estate, but first breakfast.
Breakfast, eggs and sausage patties.
Yeah, they were not so much into the pancakes. I mean, it's a very good, diverse...
Oh, they had pancakes there?
Yeah, lots. Pancakes, waffles, I'm pretty sure scones.
So this is the Biltmore Estate, Asheville, North Carolina.
It goes through some gate, and I mean, it wasn't too far from our hotel at this point.
But it was a long drive inside the estate.
Quite a rambling drive through, another 2 or 3 miles from this point of entry. They scanned our tickets, which we already had ahead of time.
So how many acres is the Biltmore Estate?
It was about 125,000 acres. Or was it 215 acres?
Yeah, it was really
a large number, but those 6 numbers combined.
And so what's this again?
This was the Village Inn first. It's a bit off from the main house, and this is where they have their working farm that they've had since 1895.
But so here it's just a lot of shops.
It's a lot of shops now, but before, of course, they had the metalworks, the stables, the areas where they grow chicken coop. But
and we'll see that later on in this video.
Now it's more commercialized. They have a adventure area there. They have an ice cream creamery, and they have beautiful, expansive gardens, beautiful flowers to be had. Now they're all converted into taverns and restaurants.
This is when they were planning the estate.
Right. And so their architect also hired someone in forestry who suggested how to best lay out the land. And they were also the first providers for butter, cream, and milk for the area. So again, that was part of their business. This over here is a local tavern now. You can have brunch or lunch there. They also had a breakfast place, which is at the Village Inn, and a lot of gift stores around. Not many were open at the time when we were there. Of course, Hayden found a playground right away and started running for it.
Yep. This was the Pisgah playground.
At this point, I was just over across exploring other parts. There was also a bike rental place for people to rent.
He said it was wet, so he didn't want to slide. It rained a lot.
But it was a very big playground too, where he could be running around. Did the other two brothers run around?
He's trying to close it on them, but it just opened. So, yeah, they like the playground. This is like a farm selling chickens and eggs.
I see.
So that's what Hayden's trying to do.
Well, at least he had fun.
And then we saw the chickens.
The chicken coop.
They had all different colors of chickens.
Yes, they're happy free-range chickens probably. They probably get released and they get to run around happily.
So this is the farm.
And this Biltmore Estate is owned by a Vanderbilt family, and they were very also involved in the farm works.
So this is what you were talking about.
Correct. So this one had a lot of vintage old machineries and farm machines and tools that they used.
And back in the day, these were very expensive.
Very expensive, very ahead of their time.
Only the Vanderbilts were able to afford this type of equipment.
Made by Deere equipment, and so here are even pictures of Mrs. Vanderbilt showing how to drive them. But again, they're very involved in their community, and she was a very young bride when she came to this estate, just 25 years old to his 36. and she really wanted to be part of the community and knew all the people who lived there. There were a lot of people, of course, who participated in creating Biltmore, and so they had to house a lot of people, a lot of homes around the area.
But even the farming, they produced all their own food for the house.
And also for the locals, right?
Yeah, after a while, I think they were saying that they produced their own milk, and then after a while, they noticed that the milk was so good that they
had
started
ice cream.
Yeah, they
Ice
had
cream
ice cream,
production.
and they even sold it to like
The local
the
areas,
locals.
yeah. And they also have creating cloths. They have metalworks here where they create their tools or sharpen their tools.
Mm-hmm.
They have an area for woodwork and carpentry, and another area for repair.
And this is a timeline of the Biltmore history.
Yeah, this is cool because it gives us the historic.
1888 it started.
That's when he first looked at the land and decided to move in. He was from New York City.
The house was
George
finished
Vanderbilt.
1895. And this is a cool tree. It's a sycamore tree. And it is 122 years old before it fell.
As shown by the lines of tree rings. Is that what I call it? I can't remember.
Yeah, the rings. Here is carpentry.
And the woodwork that they have. And so they're all like in an octagonal shaped structure, housed, so that there's a center court here. But it's quite an interesting courtyard. They have here more wagons, more weeders, more grain feeders.
I like the old pictures.
They look very, yeah, it's cool that it's so historic. So this was a cool design. I actually like it. It's one of the prettier ones with their cool pedal chairs, what I think. This is, a hay stacker.
Yeah, the designs are interesting.
But I'm sure we're just not familiar with farm machineries, right? To see how they've evolved. But I'm sure they have old wagons here pulled by their big horses. We watched a video sometime later.
Yeah, it was around the corner here.
Yeah, that the horses they'd be fed by midnight to wake them up, and then they're out by 2 a.m. to start pulling these.
So
wagons.
this was cool.
It's a painting that's framed that looks like Monet's Giverny, the Garden in Giverny.
And so when you take a picture, it's like you're in the painting.
Yes, so they have a, what's it called, that art exhibit of Monet, the immersive art. We didn't sign up for it. We had seen other ones like Van Gogh and Klimt, but this one is the Monet. And this is also back to the center court of where all the commercial areas are.
Oh, and this is the gift shop where something happened.
I wanted to go get my mom a birthday gift because her birthday's coming up soon, and it's a pretty, souvenir store. Who doesn't love a good souvenir store? And Hayden and I were smelling candles, and we accidentally broke the lid. And they covered it. They said it's all.
You didn't have to pay the $55.
I did not. Oh my gosh, no, I didn't.
And then we quickly just scurried out when, yeah.
And so again, we're here now.
Biltmore House now.
To go to Biltmore House.
So this is the path leading to the Biltmore House.
So we parked, and it's about an 8-minute walk to the main house.
There's a metal detector.
Yep. So you have to rescan your tickets again, and they scan you. And when you look at it and scan,
here it is.
This is the extensive Biltmore House.
It's like a castle.
Quite something to behold. It's like you're in a Jane Austen movie or something.
Yeah, even just the lawn, their front lawn.
So when they got this built, there were probably up to over 500 different craftsmen, workers, locals mostly, but he also hired a lot of architects, a lot of masonries, a lot of lead.
I wonder if they have
from
to
Europe.
mow the lawn every day.
I don't know how
to
they
get that
deal with
stripe.
It. Exactly.
Because it's
Must
consistent.
be. And this, when it was a house, it was really only for one family. It was George Vanderbilt, Edith Vanderbilt, and their daughter Cornelia. They only had one child. This is the entrance hall, which is beautiful. It has a glass dome on top, and it was meant to be their winter garden.
Yeah, we actually got these, they look like walkie-talkies.
Yes.
And it has numbers, and so
and each room corresponds to a number.
So like the billiard room here is number 2. You press it, and then it's a recording. It talks about the room.
And they also had a specific phone or a specific recording for children, so at least they're not super bored with the narrative.
It just has like a fun voice.
They have a fun voice, also information, but also more whimsy.
Here's the banquet hall.
So this is right after the billiard hall table or the game room. And it's very big. It can seat up to, I don't know, they said 100?
It's a lot.
It's a lot. This is just how
they have
it.
some mousse on taxidermy on
Yes.
and tapestry. Is this
And
tapestry?
so tapestry is placed in a lot of old homes before to keep the ventilation better, either to keep things warmer during winter months and cooler during summer months.
Here's the long table.
And they were just featuring Monet's garden on their centerpiece there, but that's not necessarily how it was.
Then they have a breakfast room
Which
right
is,
beside it.
Yeah, a smaller, more intimate place setting where the family would probably have eaten on a more daily occasion. And they have these elevators to bring food up from downstairs from the kitchen.
They have a lot of portraits of themselves.
Yeah, so right up
That's
there.
the grandfather.
Cornelius Vanderbilt, who started the shipping industry that he was in. And
He's
he
the one
was
that started the whole
family
business.
line. Yeah, he was very lucrative and started to invest his money in railroads.
So I don't know why this is called a salon.
So it's just a guest from the main entrance of the room, and it's just where to receive people. When someone's a guest and they're like, "Oh, we'll call Miss Vanderbilt for you," they're just seated there and probably serve some tea. And this is their backyard. When you look out from the again, acres and acres and acres of just trees and greenery. So they have a lot of very, of course, private collections of art. This was a couple of Monets. They have he was very into art world, George Vanderbilt. So he wanted to always be involved with the new artists who came up around the late 1800s, and one of them was Claude Monet.
Yeah, he didn't have to go to museums.
He already had his own museum.
This is the music room. And is that a pianoforte?
That's a pianoforte. They said that this was actually the one that was last built, according to the thing that we listened to. But during World War II, it served as a storage area to preserve some of the artworks from the Museum of Pennsylvania, so that it wouldn't be taken. Again, they're beautiful, sprawling land in the outside.
So this is the tapestry room.
The gallery.
Or gallery.
Yep, it walks to the library, so that's a bit of a spoiler. But this three tapestry sets, Faith, Hope, and Charity, they all have very big symbolic meanings, and they were made by a lot of workers, artisans from Belgium. That was their specialty, and they're one of a kind. They're so rare. Also, he was very good friends with the painter Sargent, who I love his art too, and he made family portraits of them.
So here is the library.
And it very much reminds me of the very extensive library from Beauty and the Beast, actually. It has 2 levels, and he was a very avid book collector starting at age 12. And him and his wife were huge book lovers, so of course they would have a ton of books in their collection. But he would always sit here and take a book out.
And these are the original books, right?
These are probably first editions. I'm sure he collected
I mean,
them.
like his books.
Yeah, his books. Yeah, all of this, most of the furniture here is also original furniture from their time when they lived in the house.
There's
And
the stairs that
look
go
at that
up.
beautiful staircase, and each room also should be noted has a fireplace. So this one has a very grand fireplace. But I can't even imagine having this many books. I can't even go through my collection of 3 shelves of books. So it's quite splendid to see.
And a big globe. That's probably an old globe,
And
not the newest.
even the ceiling was very highly detailed.
Yes.
It had paintings above it and lots of wall moldings. It was a very ornate library. There's also this cool stair step over there, but it's really the stairs over in the corner.
And this is them.
Yep, they have a lot of family pictures just strewn around to show how their lives were.
So here I zoomed in some more on the tapestry.
So again, it's very detailed, very dense, complex, and it's all made of thread, right? So it may have taken somebody such a long time to complete these.
It tells a story.
Yes. I can't remember the story, but
No.
it's Faith, Hope, and Charity is each of the panels is reflected by their story tale. And again, they're one of a kind. It's very interesting to probably read up on them later.
Mm-hmm. And
But-
so this was big. I don't even know what year. What around
the
the
16th century.
16th century? They
Yeah.
had a lot of these.
Yeah. Again, they helped old castles, old large spaces stay warm.
And so now we're gonna go
Up to
upstairs.
the second stair. And how many floors was this?
It was
Like,
4 floors.
They didn't allow us to go all the way. There's another level of tour that would be more of an extensive indoor. And I mean, I thought we already had it. So this second floor here, he actually had 2 beautiful portraits of the architect and also the gentleman who's responsible for the forestry planning, the gardening planning. And so that's the architect. Oh, I can't remember his name.
And this is the forestry.
Yeah. And they both had extensive backgrounds working at other...
This is the family from 1991, a portrait.
Yeah. So now it's his great-grandson who's running the estate.
And this is
his
their
family.
names.
Yep.
So
they're very much also still involved in the running of the estate, and of course now the tourism. And it's actually the great-grandson or even I think his father, who's involved in setting up the winery, growing the thing. This is a family portrait of the Biltmores, the Vanderbilts from the New York. It's in the New York area.
Here's Mr. Vanderbilt's bedroom.
So we first enter it, and it looks like a small bed, but I guess in respect to how large this room is, it makes it seem dwarfed. But his
It's
closet,
a secret closet.
Yeah, his closet is a built-in panel, so once the door is closed, you don't even notice that it's a closet. But he would have a gentleman, not the butler, but somebody who will help him dress every morning. Again, more portraits of children, but he really only had 3 children, so I think it's him and his brothers and sisters.
This is Mrs. Vanderbilt's room.
Which is just over to the next room, and it's an oval shaped with purple and golden trimmings. And again, she would have been a very young bride here when she first came, but all these furnitures from Europe.
This is the print hallway.
So we think prints, we look at it and they just look like black and white photocopies, but essentially somebody had to take a photo or a copy of the actual painting, create an engraving on a woodwork mold or metalwork, and then put ink on it. So it's actually quite very work related art.
And here is another living room.
We didn't see a nursery, but they had a nanny, so I'm assuming
Maybe the nursery was on the 4th
yeah,
floor.
they probably just kept the baby there. So
But they said
didn't
here is where the guests would gather.
Yep, so they always would open their house to various friends and families, and they had artist suites.
So this is cool because these are all the guest rooms and they adjoin to each other.
Yes.
And they also open up to the hallway.
Yep, so either you can have a private room for 2 or 4 families and they each have a bathroom there, or you can have adjoining suites. Like a hotel room, you can have 2 rooms.
And each of these rooms have their own bathroom.
Yep, and they are able to just spend their time here and write or read. Again, the Biltmore Estate was very ahead of its time because it had hot water flowing through its pipes, which made it easy for both the hostess, their guests, and their servants as well, who didn't have to boil water and bring it up to them whenever they need to draw a bath. So this was, I can't remember the name of these rooms, but they each had specific name rooms given the type of furniture that they have or the color. Sometimes it's just called a pink room. But the first room we saw was the only one with 2 single beds. Most of them are double beds.
And this is the last room. So
it's almost
there's
like an
4.
L shape. Yeah.
The stone corridor. So now we're in the basement.
Yeah. And this again, it just shows you the foundation of the Biltmore Estate and how everything is buttressed and supported. Nothing, everything looks very sturdy. It was interesting because we did go down some flights of stairs and we felt like we were quite in the basement, but really we still looked out and it was still above ground.
They call this the Halloween room, and what they had, all their guests actually drew on the walls and painted the walls.
Yes, and now it's just a presentation area for all of the service people who worked on the estate years back, and of course all their descendants now, the families, would come forward to sort of give personal anecdotes as to how they were involved with the creation of Biltmore Estate. They probably also had, from the video we watched, one of the earliest multiracial work groups, because they also hired all the locals, including the black people who were freed then. And the pay then, I think, was about 50 cents to $1 per hour. But if you were a master crafter, you would get paid up to $4. Was it $4 or $8 per hour? Equivalent to about $80 per hour in today's time.
Yeah.
Which is quite big.
So this is the bowling alley, indoor bowling alley.
Yeah, a 2-laner just coming off. And these are dressing rooms. So when somebody wants to go work out in their gym or swim, they actually don't go back up to their rooms to change into their fitness gear, because then they would have to be running down the house in their fitness gear.
They have their own little stalls.
But these stalls are like change rooms in any stores right now, and there were about 10 of them, which was a lot, meaning they probably hosted a lot of guests during their stays here. And of course the women would be helped by their ladies maid, and the men too were here, but each one had a private change room. I'm not sure if the glass was always there. They probably placed it for us to view better.
So we don't go in.
But again, it's a huge hallway of just change room to get into their workout gear or equestrian gear or swimwear.
And then coming up, we're actually going to see the indoor swimming pool.
So this swimming pool is unfortunately non-functional anymore. It actually leaks.
But I don't know why they just don't patch up the leak.
I guess it's hard to figure out where the patch is, or it could be just too costly at this point.
Yeah.
So a lot of people actually then didn't really know how to swim. It was really just for fun. If you see that there's all these ropes on this side, it just allows people to hang because they weren't really strong swimmers. So they would try to swim from rope to rope.
This is their workout room, the gymnasium.
And so they try to keep fit. The Vanderbilts were very avid sports people. They loved the outdoors, but they also have to
There's dumbbells,
keep fit indoors.
Gymnastics.
They had a little stair
showers.
up that pulled them up, and a day in the life.
So this is kind of like the servants area.
So they are placed away from the main family. They are closer to, like, the kitchen, and the cooks will be close to the kitchen area and the storage area of food. But all the servants would be in the basement somewhere. But those who assist the dressing of the Mr. and Mrs. would be closer to their bedrooms at the 4th level. But they would wake up early to get the day started. This is a pantry with all the canned goods. It looks like a small grocery already to us.
It kind of reminds me of Downton Abbey, how all the servants are on the bottom floor getting everything ready.
Yeah, they're all organized. They have their own community really there, right? Their own dining area. All their bedrooms here are situated side by side. But again, according to the narrative, this may be also the first time they've had private quarters to themselves if they came from smaller, poorer families who had to share bedrooms with each other.
Yes.
But each room is pleasantly decorated and furnished with a bed and a side table for them.
And here is the Rotisserie Kitchen.
Where they had lots of meats cooking there all day long. There's a pit for all types of deliciousness.
And here's the main kitchen.
Yeah, so this is probably the busiest area of Biltmore Estate.
There's a small little stove there.
Actually, it's large if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's always on. They said as soon as sun up is on, it's on.
Those are original copper pots
and pans. And, it's a very busy area, cutting and serving everything. This is the butler.
The dumbwaiter?
The dumbwaiters, yeah. It would bring food up for their service, but look at how many serving wares that they have for their several guests.
So this is where the servants dine.
And this is where they have their downtime and when they have their meals. Again, it's seating by seniority or by most important jobs.
At the head of the table.
It would be the butler and the housekeeper would be at the head of the table.
And this is the walk-in
refrigerator. So there's actually 5 refrigerators in the Biltmore Estate, but this is the walk-in cool refrigerator. And again, it would be ahead of its time. Over there was another storage space for all of their dry goods. Here we have their areas where they keep their gardening supplies, indoor and outdoor. It's almost like you don't have to go to Pier 1 Imports or HomeSense. You just, this is so remote, this location, but essentially they have all the stores and art museums that they need in this house. This is the laundry and drying room. Again, it's another busy area of the house where they're probably running and washing all their sheets and towels all the time. This is a drying rack that they use, that used convection heat. Later on, initially it was steam heat, but it took a long time to dry. And this is a spinner to dry sheets off. But all their fancy dresses would be sent elsewhere for cleaning since they're made of silk and satin.
Mm-hmm.
We're going back up a level, and this is the smoking room. So after dinner, men would retire to the gaming room, which is right next door, or the smoking room where they would play cards or read or have a good cigar and brandy.
And this is the end.
And so it's situated perfectly because by then we had to go find restrooms.
There's no restrooms in the house.
Not at all.
Well, for the public.
And again, they made this stable area into different commercial spaces. So you had a bookstore, a toy store, more souvenir stores, a chocolate stores. But by then we didn't really stay too long. I did want to try some ice cream. That's because of their renowned creamery. And at first I thought we were going to go back to the inn area, but we ended up staying here because they do have it here. Here is a cute little toy store. Hayden always wants to buy some sort of souvenir, but he can never make his mind up what toy he
He
wants.
said, I want a yo-yo.
He wanted a yo-yo of all things and couldn't find one.
Raggedy
But they have
Ann.
a lot of great vintage toys in there. This is the Creamery, Biltmore Creamery ice cream place. And so I went and got the Biltmore churn.
I got a float.
And it's amazing, next level huge. I loved it. It's vanilla ice cream that's of course made there locally.
Tristan got
The
sundae.
Biltmore churn sundae. Mason got the pina colada, and Hayden just got his delicious chocolate ice cream. We were just here in the courtyard, sitting,
And this is us leaving.
walking back to our car, so we have to go back through the forested area. Again, a great visit to Biltmore Estate, probably once in a lifetime.